Hi, I'm Martha Lucia, and welcome to my podcast, A Cup of Positivity. I'm so happy that you're here and super grateful to have your attention for the next 45 minutes. This is our very first episode, and I had the pleasure of speaking with the lovely Emma Deaker, creator of The Empowered Journal. In this episode, we talk about journaling, running, and why on earth she wakes up at 5 a.m. every morning. So just relax and feel free to also make yourself a cuppa. I really hope that you enjoy listening, and thank you so much for being here. So hi! Thank you for letting me do this interview with you today. I know that I haven't given you much info on what I'm doing. I'll start with that. At the beginning of the year, one of my goals that I set was to start a podcast or some kind of YouTube series, or even merge them both somehow. I mean, I wanted to start it around the summertime, so I thought there's time now. It's obviously not working in the same way that I originally wanted to because of outside circumstances, but all you can do is your best, right? What I wanted the series to be is just episodes of me having a general catch up with people and just finding out what they're doing and share some insights and really just have a shout out of what people are doing and kind of push that on the social media so that I can somehow connect people with other people, or really just share some positive vibes.
Yeah, amazing.
The reason I asked you to bring a cup of tea with you is because the series, I wanted to call it A Cup of Positivity.
Oh, wicked. I like it.
So the idea behind it is that it doesn't matter what's happening outside, which at the moment feels quite appropriate. We should always feel like we have time to just share a cup of positivity and just have a catch up. So that's what that's about. So I brought with me my little Tetley. I'm being really boring.
Mine.
Is yours just a normal PG Tips?
So I've got Yorkshire tea. That's my choice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was I don't have a selection of teas now because I haven't gone shopping like that. So I'm just on a Tetley with milk.
Yeah, I've gone for a standard tea.
Yeah.
I thought, do I go green tea or fruit? I was like, no, a proper cup of tea. Because it's so British as well, though, isn't it? In a crisis, we're in the middle of a crisis. What do people do when something goes on? I'll put the kettle on. Let's make a cup of tea. Everything will be all right over a pot of tea.
Yeah. And I've got my go to jail mug, which is kind of appropriate.
Go to jail mug.
Just lockdown, not jail. So yeah, ideally I would have been doing this interview in person. I would have made you a cup of tea, and I even had this little teapot that my auntie bought me years ago.
I love glass teapots.
Yeah, and it's so cute. So I was going to have that in the middle of the table and make people a cup of tea. But anyway, that's the debut.
That can be version 2. We can have another capture.
Yeah.
Post lockdown.
Sure. Yeah. I kind of just wanted to start off with a few little games just to get our mind going. Just get you in the flow, and maybe just, I don't want to say icebreaker because we've met a few times, so we don't really need that, but if you've seen me drunk, so that's enough.
We've had some good times in this period of time we've known each other.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with Would You Rather.
Come on then.
They're not that bad. I've got a clean version, so
that's good then. I like a clean version. Sleep
in late or get up early?
Get up early.
Mm-hmm. Live in the country, live in the city?
Country.
Okay. Cook dinner or do the dishes?
Cook dinner.
Mexican takeout or Chinese?
Ooh, Chinese.
Ooh. Chocolate or vanilla?
Vanilla.
What? Okay.
Thanks.
Watch a horror film or a chick flick?
Chick flick.
Go on a cruise or go camping?
I've never been on a cruise, but I'm going to go for cruise over camping.
Shop at a grocery store or at a farmer's market?
Farmer's market. Be
able to turn invisible or able to fly?
Ooh. Turn invisible.
I don't know, I like the fly idea. I have a lot of dreams where I fly.
Do you? Interesting.
Shave all your hair off or lose all your teeth?
Shave all my hair off.
Have a magic carpet or a personal robot?
A magic carpet.
Have one eye in the middle of your head or 2 noses?
That's an interesting one. I'd go for 2 noses, I think. Or on one eye and one eyeshadow. You could contour 2 noses.
What, into one?
I don't know, maybe.
You merge them. Live without music or without movies?
Movies. Live without movies over music.
Okay, so the next one is finish the sentence. So I'll start the sentence and then you just finish it off. This interview is going to be
amazing.
I can't be the only one who
spends 2 hours getting ready every day.
I found this banana in my
handbag.
That took way too long. One day I'm going to...
Oh, Martha, one day I'm going to travel the world.
Have I ever told you that?
I don't know how to answer these. This is difficult.
All right, let's skip that one. At night, I hate to...
watch movies.
Oh my God, do you not like movies then?
I'm not a movie watcher at all.
Oh my God, okay. Nobody could stop me from...
doing what I want to do. Or being who I want to be.
Yes. Is that not... that's a song, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so. Okay, and now I've just got random questions which will more be about you, but they're just really random. What's your phone wallpaper?
My phone wallpaper?
Yeah, like the background.
It actually is. Oh, my locked phone or non-locked phone.
Ooh, can we have both?
So my unlocked phone is a picture of Sarah and I when Sarah was running the marathon.
Okay.
My ultimate all-time favourite photos. And my locked phone is like a list of affirmations that a friend of mine sent me.
I can see, but I can't make out the text.
It says, you are beautiful, you are kind, you are smart, you are lovely, you are gorgeous, you are amazing, you are phenomenal, you are worth it, you are perfect, you are strong.
Oh, that's lovely. And someone made that for you?
You sent that to me, yeah.
Oh, wow. If you could live anywhere on the planet and take everything that you love with you, where would you choose to live?
New York is the place that I would choose at the moment. I have never fallen in love with a place like ever, like I did when I went to New York this year. And I only went for like 5 days. I just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
It's on my vision board now. I mean, I hope I get there, but I have an apartment in Manhattan on my vision board now.
That's amazing. I feel like New York is quite similar to London in a lot of ways.
It is. And like, I know I said, like you said, country or city, but there was just something about that city that I just loved.
Yeah.
And to me, it wasn't like big and intimidating. Everyone was like, oh, it's so like imposing. And I just, I can't really explain how and why I fell in love with it, but I just did.
Yeah.
I can see both sides. I can see why people do and don't like it, but I just loved it.
No, I liked it when I went as well, but I don't know if I would see myself living there. Did you do the Sex and the City tour?
No. So I know. So obviously when we went, it wasn't all pleasure. It was a lot of it was like property and business. So I really want to go back 100%. I'd like to go for like 10 days if I could.
Yeah.
And go and do more touristy stuff. I mean, like we did like Empire State Building and stuff like that, which I just was phenomenal. I just thought it was amazing. But yeah, I want to do more. So I would definitely be going, not in the not too distant future.
Okay. I don't know if this one's, because you said you're not a movie person, but it's if you could be in a movie of your choice, what movie would it be and who would you play?
I'd be in Top Gun. I'd be that woman in Top Gun with Tom Cruise. Like that's my all-time favourite film.
Is it? I don't think I've seen that for a long time. I'm probably a teenager, but
I don't do movies generally. Like I do watch them, but it's not really my thing. Yeah. But Top Gun, I've seen, I can't remember how many times from when I was so small. Like it was a thing that I used to do with my dad when I was little. We used to watch it. Like I love it. Absolutely love it. We had it on like recorded video.
Yeah.
And in the adverts in the middle was like the brand new Peugeot 205 or something like mental, like from the 80s, early 90s. Yeah, I love it. I do listen to the soundtrack still.
Yeah, I think it's got quite a good soundtrack, that one.
Good soundtrack.
Okay, interesting. Are you a spring, summer, autumn or winter person and why?
Summer. I love the summer.
Me too. I can't bear the wind and rain and snow and all that other stuff.
I mean, I love spring. Like, I love running in the spring and that and seeing like all the flowers coming out and stuff like that. But I'm a summer person. I'm a summer holiday person. I love the sun.
Yeah, we match on that one. Share a description of your favourite material object that you already own.
So, at the moment, one of my favourite things is silver.
Okay. Is that a Tiffany necklace you've got?
This one?
Yeah.
This is, yeah.
Okay, it's nice, it caught my eye. And then last one is, what 3 words would you choose to describe yourself?
High maintenance is 2 words, isn't it?
Oh, let's just take that as 1.
Okay, high maintenance. I am what I am, but I am high maintenance. To myself, I am high maintenance.
Yeah.
Particular.
Okay.
I like to think that I'm quite funny.
I think you're funny.
I have this thing, and it's definitely something I had a chat with Sarah about. And I get told I'm boring quite a lot.
What?
Yes.
Who says that?
I do. I get called like the fun police, but I'm quite fun. I'm quite funny.
Yeah, I think you're funny. I think it's weird when you, when you describe yourself as funny, I always get self-conscious because I feel like people are going to be like, or tell a joke then. It's just like, well, no, not that. I'm not a comedian, but.
I'm not going to do a stand-up act.
Yeah. I get what you mean. I think you're funny. And I remember you at the Christmas party where you did a really nice dress up. Didn't you win best dress?
Oh my God, when I dressed as a present.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dressed in a box. I hate dressing up. I hate fancy dress.
Oh no, I love it.
But I had to bring my A game that day.
Yeah. No, I love dressing up. And that's actually one of the things I want to do once we can go out again, dress up as whatever, anything. So I suppose for anyone watching who maybe doesn't know who you are, we met a year ago, I would say, at a property mastermind. That's right. It must be like a year.
Yeah.
And I feel like since then, I've been following you on Instagram and, we've met a few times at other events, but I feel like I just get snippets of like what you're doing. So if you could just let the listeners or viewers know like what you do, what you're doing right now, and just like a little intro.
Yeah. So we met, was about 2 years into like property training and that, I suppose. And I'd already got my sights set on taking our business further. My background is very much corporate, like finance world. Like I used to work for a big building society for a number of years. I took a little break to be a PA for somebody and it didn't work out. So I had a couple of little jobs in between, and then I went back into the same type of job that I was in before, working over in Milton Keynes. And I'm based in Northampton. It was a good job, but for me, it really highlighted to me even more in the short period of time that I was there, like 18 months, that I wanted to accelerate my business. And things were going well in the property world for me. I've got some good partnerships and stuff like that. And I actually left my job November last year, about 12 months ahead of when I thought I was going to be able to do that. So that's amazing. I'm so happy and so grateful that that's happened. Hobby-wise, which is kind of something to do with my business as well, I love running. Mm-hmm. In fact, it came up on my Facebook memory today, 6 years ago, today almost-ish, I did the London Marathon for the first time.
Wow.
So those 6 years have just been like, that was like I'd done like a couple of half marathons and just done it quite casually, really. That set my fire, really, of my love of running back then. So literally, I've been running for like the last 6 years now, pretty much non-stop. That was quite a nice reminder this morning, actually, at how long I've been doing it. And one of the things I've always wanted to do is to help people realise that they can run. I have so many people say to me, I could never do that. I could never do that. And it's not true. Don't put your hand up. Anyone can do it. Absolutely anyone. And that's kind of the direction my business is going in now. So I've got property business aside, but just being a bit more public and a bit out there about wanting to help people and stuff like that. And our friend Sarah was one of the first people outside of like friends and family. I didn't even know her when she said, I'm running the marathon.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to me that day. Something changed inside me that day when I met her, because I just interrupted her and was like, I'll help you. Like, I didn't know her. She didn't know me. And I was like, okay. And she was like, okay. So and it was the whole process of seeing somebody from start to finish achieve something so massive. For me, the sense of achievement when she crossed the finish line was way beyond any kind of emotion that I was expecting. I don't think I'll ever forget it. Like the actual feeling of watching her do that was just absolutely phenomenal. And it's something that I just have a passion for more than anything. And really, that kind of led on to me just opening up a Facebook group. I've called it My First Marathon. Mm-hmm. Even in the last 6 months or so, that itself has evolved. So now it's not gone the other way from running, but it's made me realise actually that when I help people with training or anything like that, it's more than running.
Yeah.
It's mindset, the psychology of it, all of that. Like, there's definitely, when you want to achieve something like that, there's definitely like a lifestyle change that needs to happen for it to be done well. And I'm not saying like break world records or stuff like that, but you have to give it the respect that it deserves. And if people really want to take up things like running, even if it's for a 5k or a 10k, there is other changes that you can do in your life to make it easier and to make it better for you. So kind of the whole empowering thing, which is kind of where everything's evolved to, that's where that's kind of emerged from, if that makes sense. And that's where my journals come from as well. Become more about motivating and empowering people to just want better for themselves, whether it's through health, fitness, lifestyle, general well-being, rather than like anything running specific.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the direction it's going down now.
And just tell us what I know about your journals, but what, like, just for people who might not know.
Yeah, so journaling as a process is something that I started doing about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I've dabbled in and out of it. Like, I definitely, I'm never going to hold my hand up and say I do it every single day of my life, because I'm a real human being and some days it just doesn't happen. It's definitely something I've dipped in and out of, but also it's something that I've just fell in love with when I've done it properly. So I've definitely seen a difference in my own performance and my business performance when I have and haven't been journaling, which is what has now led me to, it's very rare that I don't do my journal now. Like I said, they are occasions, but every day I go through a process. I download it into I've used different journals and I've kind of pulled bits that I like from each one. So I have my morning routine written down in my journal. I have a gratitude list, so I actually list things that I'm grateful for every day. I have a to-be list, which is what I want to be on that day, and that is basically just to keep my mind and my state focused. And if I am feeling a bit groggy and a bit grumpy, I don't want to be that. I want to be something else. And if I write that down and make that intention, it's kind of flipping over and trying to actually like behave the way I want to be. And then on there I have my daily habit goals, which I have, and they change each month depending on, I have like a review at the end of each month and look forward. And then I have like a to-do list of minimum expectations, and I have like a brain download kind of space in there as well. So that's something that I've done, and I love the process. Like, I love to be organised. I love a list. I love ticking things off. I'm definitely one of those people. I love stationery as well. I'm obsessed with stationery. So that's like, it's been a goal of mine, like a way in the future kind of goal, to have my own journal edition. But it's something that has just happened, and it's happened so quickly. Like, it was going to be for the end of the year, ready for January next year. So I was thinking like New Year's resolutions, that'd be a really cool time to launch it. With the whole lockdown thing and with me ramping up my social media, and that's not in terms of like buy my stuff, sell, because I haven't got anything to sell. Me just putting on there what I do on a daily basis, what I'm like with my routine, people just started coming out of the woodwork saying like, help me. Like, how can I do this? What do you do? How do you keep focused? How do you keep motivated? And I was like, I think people need a journal.
Yeah.
So the last like 2 months, we've just literally just pulled all our resources together, and like people have helped me pull it together and getting it to print. So going to print today, within like 10 days, I could be holding my own journal.
That's amazing.
So I am so excited, and I've had almost 40 pre-orders.
It's amazing, Emma, because it's weird how for a lot of people lockdown has kind of fast forwarded their goals. Like, you would think that it would kind of put some things to a halt.
Oh, definitely.
But in this case, it's kind of the opposite. But congratulations. It's such an achievement. The one thing that I think I struggle with in terms of goal setting, especially like at the beginning of the month, is that sometimes I actually don't know what I want to achieve in like figures, if that makes sense. Yeah. So for the sake of setting a goal, I'll just pull out numbers out of thin air. So where would you get like that kind of clarity in terms of what's realistic or what you want to achieve, or does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So my goals aren't very focused on figures, like either at all. Like my mentor might kick my ass for that. Like, but it's one of those things. I'm not that comfortable with it, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that's a British thing with like money being a taboo subject and stuff like that. But ultimately, there is a goal there that I kind of need as a minimum, and at the minute that is my goal still, to maintain that. As I'm going through my month and like crossing off my daily habits I've achieved them and stuff like that, every now and again, if I want to start something new, if I just get an idea and be like, right, I want to do that every day, I won't wait till the start of next month. And I know a lot of people do, they're like, right, clean slate, start that on next Monday, or start that beginning of next month. Like, just start it like now, like write it down today. Day's the first day, and then make sure you write it down for the next day, and it just becomes one of those things. So everything evolves. Like sometimes I also have goals drop off of that list as well. If I just think, well, that's not a goal for me anymore, it's more of a habit. Yes, I keep an eye on it. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? It does adapt with me as I go along. Okay. I think monetary goals are quite hard.
Yeah, I find them quite hard. Or even like if we were to talk property, like things like, oh, I want to find X amount of deals, or even with this, like I want to record X amount of videos this week. I think my logical side and my emotional side are always battling, because it's kind of like your emotional side wants to be like, yeah, smash it, I'm going to do loads and I'm going to be my best self and whatever. And then your logical side is a bit like, well, that's a bit unrealistic. So I'm just always like battling my own thoughts.
In terms of goals like that as well, I think sometimes it's nice to have like a weekly goal. So across this week, I'll do, say, like 5 interviews if it was you, yeah? So it could be a case, you could do that in the first 3 days. That's doable. Like, and then if you do any more, it's a bonus. Like what I have on my list every day is a minimum expectation. Now that list is a list of 2. So what 2 things today do I absolutely need to get done? Whether it is a deadline-led thing, or just I've left this long enough now, this needs to get done. And then anything else that's achieved beyond that is a bonus. But I think so many people have, I mean, if you write an actual to-do list, it will be as long as your arm, and you never ever get to the end of a to-do list. So I think having a minimum expectations for a day of like 1 or 2 things, which can grow a little bit depending on what time, but I think if you've got that minimum expectation of 2, then the sense of achievement psychologically in your head is loads better. And if you feel like you're getting, because then if you think of over a week, and if you do it over 7 days, that's 14 things a week. That's a lot to tick off a list. If you think, then you get to the end of the week and look back.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you is the 5 a.m. club, because I've seen you post a lot online.
That 5 a.m. club.
Yeah. And
we're mental is what we are.
I am definitely, well, I don't even want to say it now, because I feel like I'm kind of, it's a negative thing to say in a way, but I'm not a morning person. I've had a couple of weeks where I haven't been myself. And on Sunday, I said to myself, you know what, should I do the 5 a.m. club thing? And part of me was thinking, no, it's an unrealistic goal, because you're just not going to get up at 5 a.m. It's not going to happen. And then the other side of me was saying, yeah, but why don't you just try it? Because you've never tried it. You don't know if you can do it because you've never tried to do it. And why don't you just commit to a week and see how it goes? I had a conversation with my mentor, and she also said, just fucking do it, basically.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
And so I've set myself that goal for the week, and I'm only on day 2, and I've had 2 completely different days. But I just wanted to get like your insights as to like how long you've been doing it, why you do it, positive effects. Do you ever have days where you're like, I'm not doing this? Like, just talk me through that.
Yes is the answer to that. Straight away, straight off the bat. Yeah, people probably find it hard to believe now, but I was not a morning person.
Oh, I don't believe you.
And honestly, I have not been a morning person for, well, I have been a morning person for a short amount of time that I wasn't. So I would love a lay-in. Before, like years ago, I'd love a late night. Like if I went on a night out, like I was at 4 o'clock in the morning used to be my thing for getting home from a night out. It didn't matter how hard, I didn't even try, it just happened. I don't even know how that happened. But when I actually was like knuckling down to business, like actually knuckling down into personal development and working on myself, I think, well, what I found was whenever normal stereotypical world, when we're working and stuff like that, whenever we try and do something extra, I need to fit it in after work. Everything is squeezed in between the time you finish work to the time you go to bed, and people end up staying up all hours.
Yeah.
Now, and that obviously you have got extra time there if you need it, but there is only a finite amount of time there really, because at some point you've got to go to bed. Like you need your sleep. Like sleep is so important. Like yes, I get up early, but sleep is really, really important to me. And I just found I wasn't productive doing that, and stuff wasn't getting done because if I worked late, something had to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
If I would go to the gym in the evening after work. I then got to fit in dinner, some real life stuff. Before you know it, the amount of time actually that you've got something to fit extra in just isn't there. And just by switching, it's just switching my mindset really. If you get up earlier, even if you got up an hour earlier, but the rest of your day is the same, you can still go to bed at a reasonable time, but you actually are creating more time by getting up early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what I find, and the reason why I do the morning routine that I do, is that I actually work better in the day. I sleep better at night. I'm more organised. Like my time is so well. My structure is much better, and I'm much more disciplined. And I've seen results from it. And because I've seen results from it, I actually like doing it. Even though yes, there are mornings, like I hold my hand, I didn't get up at 5. Well, I did get up at 5 o'clock this morning, but when I got up at 5 o'clock this morning, I had a stinking headache. And being very grateful for being my own boss, I had an extra hour in bed and I got up at 6 with no headache, feeling absolutely awesome, to be honest. And I went for a beautiful walk in the fields behind my house, and it was lovely. But my alarm still went off at 5, and on a normal day that I am out and doing, and just creating the right energy that I want for my day. Do you know what I mean? The reason why and I go on about morning routine a lot, I know I do, and it probably bores people, but to me it's really important. And just setting up the day that way, anything can happen, and especially when like you're running your own business. Like I would love to like write a book about my transition between like employed and self-employed. That for me was a really wobbly like period of time for me, which my morning routine, when I got a hold of it and got organised with it, was the biggest game changer for me, because I could control my morning, I could control the beginning of my day. Because when you're in your own business and you're not in control of what's coming in, like you don't have your work routine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's where I was really losing it. I wasn't really in control of my morning, and then I'd lost control of my day, and it'd be 5 o'clock, it'd be the end of the day, I'd be cooking dinner thinking, I haven't got a clue what I've done today. But by really setting myself up strong in the morning, I was just ready for what was going to hit me in the day, in whatever order. Sometimes your days go to plan, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But now I feel whether they do or don't, I'm in control of it, if that makes sense. It doesn't really affect me as much as it used to. Like I really struggled at the beginning.
Yeah.
But that was the game changer for me, was my morning routine.
So do you ever have a lie-in on the weekend or something?
So I tend to, if I do things to plan, Sunday's my no alarm day.
Okay.
Now on a Saturday, I might not set my alarm for 5, I might say it for like 7, if I just want a cut-off point. Because the thing is, my husband works full time. Like I don't think it's fair if like he's worked all week and there's a 5 o'clock alarm going off on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not really that fair. My Sunday is my no alarm day. Saturday I will, because I do love a Saturday. Like that's when my family are like, it's hard because sometimes business rolls into the weekend for us, but that's just one of those things. But I still try, and as a family at home, a Saturday is the start of the weekend. So I like to cook breakfast for everybody, stuff like that. But I don't like to lay in on a Saturday. I like to make the most of it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, I mean, I love a lie-in as well, but sometimes I do wake up late and think, oh, I've kind of like missed the whole morning. So
that's the feeling that I don't like. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing for me. I don't like that feeling. So I will more force myself the other way, because I know even though it's tough to do it, that's where I feel better.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I'm only on day 2, but yesterday I think I was surprised by how much I had got done by like 9 or 10 a.m. compared to what I would have normally have achieved by that point in the day.
Brilliant.
The only thing that I would say is that around 2 or 3 p.m. I felt like having a nap because I was like, I feel like I'm awake for ages.
Yeah.
But I suppose maybe your body gets used to that, or do you ever just have a nap?
Sometimes I do, like depending on what I've actually got on. But again, like I am strict with that. So a power nap is a real thing. Like with sleep cycles, a power nap is a thing. There is a reason why it's like 20 minutes long, and 20 minutes. Like when I used to work from home when I was employed, I used to have a power nap on my lunch break.
Wow.
And if I was working from home in the summer, I'd be in the garden on a sun lounger for 20 minutes. Like that is what I used to do on my lunch break.
Yeah.
It works if you do it properly. It really does work. So yeah, 20 minutes all you need, and you'll just recharge yourself for the next half of your day.
Yeah, I don't know how I would get up after 20. I feel like 20 minutes I'm just falling asleep. I'm only just sleeping.
Well, I set an alarm. So when I'm actually going to do it, I'll set an alarm for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know.
I find meditation music, it works like that.
What, to sleep to it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it shuts off anything, and that actually helps me relax, helps my breathing, and I fall asleep really, really quickly, and then my alarm goes off and I'm like, okay, ready, let's go.
I need to learn all these things.
They're just little bits that I've just like picked up and tried, and it works for me. I mean, it doesn't work for everybody, but
I suppose you've already touched on like the journaling thing, but I think with everything happening at the moment, there's obviously loads of people that are struggling. I've had moments of heavy anxiety. That's something that I've always struggled with. So I wondered if maybe anything else apart from the journaling thing that you would recommend to people that maybe don't find it as easy to kind of keep that positive vibe going. Following you on Instagram is probably one tip that I have, because your posts are just always positive. But just generally, what would you advise people?
I think people underestimate the power of having a routine, and whatever that looks like for you is going to be different for everybody. The people that I work with and the clients that I have at the moment, what I'm finding is, and people that are just coming to me asking me questions in general at the moment while we're in this whole lockdown thing, is they've lost their routine. And this is kind of similar to what I experienced going from being employed to being self-employed at home. Because you haven't got a commute, there isn't that sense of urgency to get up, because it's almost like, well, I start work at 9. Well, actually, there's no commute in there. I'm not going to fight for a parking space anywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's a funny little place to be in. And they've come to me saying things like, I'm working in my pajamas. Like, I'm lucky if I'm like brushing my hair, let alone washing it. And for me, it's like, what frightens me, and generally I am frightened for people when we come out of lockdown and they have to go back to their routine.
Yeah, I've thought about that as well.
That's going to be the biggest shock. It's very easy to fall out of routine, very, very difficult to get it back. So what I've been encouraging people to do is to maintain that morning routine, whatever that normal routine was, and maybe adding a couple more elements into it that necessarily wasn't doing before, but would be beneficial now and after lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have that commute, you can still use that time to read or listen to a podcast or something, because you would be commuting at that time anyway.
Yeah, and a few of my clients, what I'm encouraging them to do, like they're on the path of increasing like exercise and stuff like that, not like running or anything as intense as that, but just making the time for a morning walk, getting up as well at a time that's early enough to fit everything in, but also the way I see it is they've still got room when we come out of lockdown to get us up a little bit earlier and maintain what they're already doing in addition to their commute. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying to them, get up at 5 o'clock, because what they'll do now is they'll get up at 5 o'clock and they'll fill that time before they start work at home.
Yeah.
And then they'll again be thinking, well, how am I going to fit this in when I go back to work? If they're getting up at like 6, half 6 now and adding, say, in half an hour exercise into their routine, when we're out of lockdown, if they get up half an hour earlier than that, say like 5:30, 6 o'clock, they can still maintain that better lifestyle and still go to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for me, it's all about being realistic as well. Like, everyone's circumstances are different. Like, my clients, I literally sit down and I don't have a plan for them at all until I know what's normal for them, what it is they're trying to achieve.
Yeah. So basically, the long-term plan is you're going to stick them in the 5 a.m. club.
Yeah, I mean, the actual 5 a.m. club is a book.
No, I know, yeah.
And like, I was a 5 a.m. person before I read the book.
Right.
Reading the book made me more strict as a 5 a.m. clubber, because the book is brilliant. And what I love about it, and I actually listened to it twice on the bounce, like once and then straight back into it, because I knew there'd be bits in there that I missed. And because it's something I like to do, I was like, I'm not missing any of this. And the way it's written, it's like a story. It isn't like a book where it's like, right, 5 a.m. club, you need to do X, Y, and Z. It's so easy to listen to, and it's so easy to understand. It's one of the best written books. Like, the way it's been written is just awesome, I think, on how to easily pick things up.
Yeah.
So I recommend.
Yeah, I need to read that actually. I'm going to put that on my list. Okay. And then what about, like, what do you do for fun? Because I've seen set up your TikTok and I know a lot of people
Don't talk to me about TikTok.
So yeah, what do you do for fun?
Well, running is a big thing that I do. For me, it is fun. People think like it's torture, it's like a form of self-harm or whatever you want to call it. I love running, and one of the things I like about running is it gets me outdoors. People don't think I'm a very outdoorsy person because I like my hair and makeup and I like my clothes, but I also love being outdoors. Like, the two, I can merge the two.
Yeah, of course.
I have got a newfound love for social media, but I used to hate social media. I was very anti it, but I do love it. TikTok is insane.
Yeah.
I think it's actually going to become a problem to people. I actually think it's like an addiction problem. What it is or what we call it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was talking about it with a friend this week, and I thought, is it because we're not in contact with people as much as we were? It's a way of seeing people. Do you know what I mean? Like, having fun, having a laugh. And I've like, none of mine are serious. None of my TikTok are serious. Even the ones that look serious, I'm like killing myself in those videos laughing. You just can't see it. It's definitely a thing that I've got going with Sarah, where it's like TikTok tennis. She's upped her game. Like, my game was strong. She wasn't doing it. She's now gone further ahead than me, so I need to catch up.
Yeah, I have that on my list as well to do at some point in the next couple of weeks to just figure that out. But
what I don't like is, it's as a female, like, and males will get this as well, because TikTok is full of hot boys, is the only way I can say it. Like, they are everywhere. They just find you. Yeah. There's a lot of hot girls on there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, my thing is about morning routine and motivation and stuff like that, and inspiring people and empowering people to just do better. When you put that kind of thing on TikTok, no one sees it. No one likes it. No one's commenting on it. So I've got to really try hard to make that a thing. A stupid dance. Yeah. Like, in the garden or wherever, gets like a bazillion views, a bazillion likes. But that's what people are on there for, more for fun at the moment.
I think that is what it is.
How you work that in terms of, like, you can definitely like monetize Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. How TikTok works in that world, I have no idea. For me, it is just fun. Yeah. But you can lose, if you're not aware of it, you can lose hours, literally. Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah, when I first downloaded it, I was on there for, I don't even want to know how long, but I've kind of calmed down.
Just doing that little movement.
Honestly, I just find a lot of them just so hilarious. And so it is, for me, I think it is a fun app. All of the videos that I enjoy watching there are just fun, like someone's just having a laugh or the odd prank here and there as well. But I don't take it too seriously.
It's a great platform. Like, it is so entertaining. And when we can't like get with like loads of groups of friends and stuff like that, it's just a little bit of light-hearted entertainment.
Yeah, and I feel like the videos are so creative as well, like what you can do with the cameras and everything.
I mean, I am not creative at all. I do not have a very creative flair, but it makes it really easy to like edit stuff and add. I haven't really got that far on it, but yeah, it's just so It's just so funny. I just love it. What I quite like as well is people's like, they're like, oh, you on TikTok? And I'm like, yeah, wait till you are on it. Like, and then they're like, a couple of days later, they're like, oh my God, I lost like an hour this morning.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I mean, I feel like we could chat forever, but I suppose one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what's the first thing you're going to do once everything reopens and we're allowed to go out?
I want to go shopping. I want to go to London shopping with my friends.
Yeah.
I want to go to London shopping with like champagne and cocktails in their favourite places. I'm very lucky at home that my family are here pretty much. Like my mum and dad live with me, and our family is tiny. Like I haven't got grandparents and stuff, unfortunately, anymore. And family that we've got are quite a long way away. So we're used to not seeing them for long periods of time. And we're talking to them more on the phone anyway. So in terms of like, I need to go and see X, Y, and Z, it isn't really there for me. I am missing my friends, and I haven't got a massive network of friends. Like I really haven't, never have had. I do have a goddaughter, and it was her birthday while we was in lockdown. And I went to see her and took her presents to the doorstep. Thankfully, it was good weather and she got a front garden, so she could just like come out and run around. But not being able to give her a cuddle, like she's 3 on her birthday, was quite heartbreaking. And I weren't ready for that morning. I was just like, oh, it's her birthday. Then when I went on to see her, I was like, oh my God, like normally we're playing and like rolling around on the floor and throwing her around. I was like, oh my God, I can't do any of that. So that as well. I just want to be able to hug people.
I know, yeah.
I'm a tactile person. I like a good hug. Doesn't matter who it's from. Yeah, I just want to be able to hug people when I see them.
No, I get that. But I mean, I live on my own, so I'm missing quite a lot of people. But it's weird, like not even interacting with people outside. Like even when I go to walk the dog, you know,
people
you
just aren't doing it, are they?
Yeah, you see someone and you have to cross the road, or you move to the other side of the pavement or whatever, and it's so strange. But it will pass.
You come to London, you come too. Come join us.
I was going to say, where in London, because it will be near me. So.
We're around Bond Street, so.
Okay, so to finish off, just like to finish on a positive note, is there a positive quote or message that we can finish on, that something that you love or that maybe you have on your wall? I don't know.
So my favourite quote that I have it in front of me actually here. Pre-lockdown, I was actually going to have it tattooed.
Ooh.
There's a couple of quotes actually that I love. And so this one though is, she believed she could, so she did.
That's awesome.
But I love that quote a lot. And it's been presented to me in different forms over the last like year or so. And one thing that I heard, it was actually Mel Robbins, you know, the 5-second rule. She has a word for, like, when you do New Year's resolutions or whatever, she has a word for the year.
Okay.
And she actually has it engraved on a necklace and has a new one every year. And I saw this at the end of last year. It's obviously one of her things that she uses in her marketing. And my word that I just get, and I've never said this out loud to anybody, but my word that I had for myself for this year was believe.
Oh.
And then this quote keeps getting, like, I've got it in front of me because it was given to me on a card by somebody. My mum's given it to me. I think I've got it on like a quote, like a little plaque somewhere. And it's just one of those things that just keeps highlighting itself to me. So that for me, that's my word for this year. But I just love that quote because I've made so many changes in the last year or so. And it has come down to my belief in myself. As that's grown, I've just got better and better at things. And I've learned, not saying that I'm amazing because I'm not, but I'm still learning. But my belief in myself is becoming more and more. And the other quote that I love is, with the right pair of shoes, a girl can. I think that's it. Or with the right pair of shoes, a girl can do anything. That's a Marilyn Monroe quote.
Yeah.
A friend of mine actually gave that to me on a medal hanger when I was doing like when I first started marathon running, and my like running just like ramped up.
Yeah.
So I've got this beautiful little medal hanger with that on as a quote, with a glittery pair of trainers on it.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that both your quotes are feminine as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love that.
You're welcome.
But thank you so much for letting me interview you. I definitely want to do an in-person one once we're allowed to. But yeah, it was actually really nice to like get a bit of a deep dive into your life. And
thank you. I was flattered to ask me, to be fair.
Oh.
Thank you. It's been awesome.
Well, thank you. And I'll put all your social medias and everything in there. So
that'd be great. Thank you.
And I'll speak to you soon.
Take care, lovely. See you. Mwah.